This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by HomelandStupidity.us.
Will you be sending men with guns after me if I don't show up to your trial?
One more word and I'll have you arrested.
Make them hurt! Make them hurt! You guys should be proud of yourselves!
We have a problem in New Hampshire, the incarceration of political prisoners. But is it possible we might be able to use that problem to solve another problem? In fact, I think we might be able to hit 3 birds with 1 stone. My idea would help the prisoners, it would help promote liberty on the outside, and it might also make life better for people inside jail who are not political prisoners. Actually, now that I think about it, there might be a 4th advantage in that this would help spread liberty inside the jails. Anyway, here are the 2 problems. First, as I was saying, we have New Hampshire liberty activists who are intermittently jailed for victimless crimes. They are bored, and they have a lot of spare time on their hands. But we also have a problem on the outside. We are not writing enough letters to the editor.
Sorry guys, when this battery died.
I believe it's real. All right, fair enough.
Andrew Carroll getting arrested
For touching a plant.
What if we could get our political prisoners involved in writing letters to the editor? Now, this might mean buying subscriptions, maybe weekly, once a week subscriptions to newspapers and having the newspaper shipped to the jail where one of our prisoners is. It would involve making sure their commissary account has enough money that they can buy stamps and envelopes. Our prisoners could then read the newspaper, find something they want to comment on, and mail a letter to maybe one of their friends on the outside. The person on the outside would then repackage the letter and send it to the newspaper using the inmate's normal address, where the inmate lives normally. Maybe I'm going into too much detail as to how this might be done, but the basic idea is we just need to figure out a way for our inmates to write a lot of letters to the editor. Now, a cheaper way to do this might be for those of us on the outside to, just keep our eyes on the newspapers and maybe print out excerpts from, liberty-related articles in the newspapers. Print out such articles, send them to the inmates. Now, they could be entertained by the articles and also maybe be inspired to write a letter to the editor. Basically, we just need to make sure that the inmates, the political prisoners, have all the information they need and the means they need to write a letter to the editor. We've got to figure out a way to leverage all the spare time our inmates have. We need to figure out a way to make life less boring for them and to make sure that they have a sense of purpose. As of late October '09, I guess there are, I don't know how many now, at least 6 New Hampshire liberty activists of one stripe or another who are in jail for a potentially long time. They're all listed on mail-to-jail.com. And I'll just leave it to you guys how to get them the kind of access they need to write letters to the editor. Some of them are not perfect, or are allegedly not perfect, and maybe not all of them are exactly the face we want on the Free State, but that doesn't mean it's bad for them to serve society or contribute to society's debate. I guess I will just trust your judgment as to who we ought to give a platform to. If you look at the video description for this clip, you will see a link to more information about how this all might be done, and what you can do, and what I am doing myself. On a related note, I wanted to mention something that you can do that would help our liberty activists inside jail. Something unrelated to letters to the editor. When I was jailed 6 days for refusing to turn my video camera off, I think it was Johnson from Free Talk Live who had a great idea. He sent me 10 or 20 pages worth of what you might call paper games. These are games that can be played on a piece of paper. Battleship, Sudoku, crossword puzzles. Even though I didn't have any interest in these games myself, I found them to be very valuable in that I was able to give them out to other inmates. That raised my stature in the jail, and it helped them, and if I'd needed to, I could have used these as barter items. A page worth of games is worth probably 15 minutes of fun, whereas a page worth of text is probably only worth 4 minutes of fun. Also, you can send the same game over and over and over again, and no one necessarily ever gets tired of it. Again, I will hopefully have a little bit more information about this on the link in the video description. And if I don't, well then you can add the information on that link yourself. The more we can turn our political prisoners into activist machines, the less the government will want to have political prisoners in its jails.
Have you ever wished you could just grab the president's attention for a few seconds and tell him what's wrong with Washington? Well, there is one free stater who's apparently already done it. Michael Hampton over at homelandstupidity.us. Hampton reports that a summary of at least one of his articles ended up in the president's daily news briefing. So, why do powerful Americans pay attention to homelandstupidity.us? Well, it's because Michael Hampton is a great whistleblower. Drop by homelandstupidity.us and see for yourself what the fuss is all about. homelandstupidity.us